You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I am back. Rudrance for Black and White Sports 2. Well, we're going to talk about the 49ers and more importantly, I guess, or more directly, Trey Lance and Sam Darnold. A little quarterback talk. Because it seems that supposedly, all of a sudden, the news has come out that Trey Lance has made this substantial jump. That's right. He went off. He did a little work with Patrick Mahomes and one of Patrick Mahomes' guys that works with quarterbacks. And, oh, my goodness, it seems that he is saved. Now, I'm just going to be the first to tell you right up front, this feels like a ploy to get the word out. Oh, Trey Lance looks so much better. Want to give us a fourth-round pick for him? We'll take it. That's just my feeling in this. Now, some people believe that Trey is still going to be involved in some kind of a quarterback controversy. I guess. I mean, as far as I know, as far as I'm concerned, this is Brock Purdy's job. And, you know, something we haven't talked about a lot in all of this is the fact that so many people have talked about there being three quarterbacks, and all these quarterbacks may get a chance to start. And I'm sitting back going, you do realize if the Niners start three quarterbacks this season could be a total disaster. If we get to the point where three quarterbacks have gotten on the field, and I know what happened last year, I get it, but this pretty much better be Brock Purdy's job, although I do think Sam Darnold does have he could have some interesting potential in the Kyle Shanahan offense. And by the way, we have Mike Martz that has echoed those sentiments, and we'll get to that too. But let's get to this totally nonsensical Trey Lance has retooled and has made a substantial jump. Now, the reason I'm skeptical of this substantial jump is because, well, there hasn't been a preseason and or regular season game played. So how the hell does anybody know? We're not even in training camp. He's not even been in training camp. How the hell do we know he's made a substantial jump? Not only that, and look, NFL fans down here, by the way, just destroyed this. I mean, and I kind of get it because this just kind of doesn't make sense. Yeah, he may have reshaped or reworked his throwing motion. But does anybody remember what happened when Tim Tebow did that? Remember, Tim Tebow has completely reconstructed his throwing motion. And then when he got in the field and the real flying bullets started, Tim Tebow was being back to the same old Tim Tebow. Why? Because there's a thing called muscle memory, and he's had so many thousands of reps a certain way. It would take a very, very long time. And I mean, Trey Lance would have to get out there and throw 5,000 balls. So there could be some kind of memory pop up on a new throwing motion. And really, it should be more like 10,000. I mean, I don't get this. It feels like, and I will continue to say, between now and the start of training camp, maybe into training camp, when you see these kind of stories, it's going to be to try to get a trade market so they can get back something for a quarterback that they're done with. Let's get to this. And look, the Niners can come out and slam Ian Rappaport and all this about Trey Lance. He's gonna be in the mix. Okay. I just simply do not buy it. Trey Lance was deemed the 49ers savior when the team drafted him third overall in 2021. But 2 seasons and only 4 starts later, Lance is no longer the San Francisco quarterback of the present or future. Look, for these Trey Lance truthers, I understand that's not a big body of work. I get it. But here was always the issue. They drafted a quarterback, and maybe they shouldn't have, because they drafted a quarterback onto a team that was ready to win now, which simply meant they could not afford to give this guy 16 or 17 starts. because they would literally lose the chance at a Super Bowl at some point during a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 season run when you've got all this other accumulated talent. Now, that may be sort of a failure of John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan to have jumped out there and drafted a quarterback when this was already a team ready to win now. Lance doesn't sound like he's lost confidence, and after some time working with private quarterbacks coach Jeff Christensen, Lance could have a new leash on his career. Charlene Williams, I think you mean a new lease, not leash, but okay. Christensen said the breakthrough for Lance came during work with Patrick Mahomes. Quote, I said, watch this. Watch what he does here, Christensen told Matt Burrows of theathletic.com. It was something I was telling him to do that he wasn't quite doing. And then he saw Patrick apply it perfectly. And I think that visual buy-in, that mental buy-in helped him pass that mental hump. And to his credit, he just kept getting better. Over the last 7 days and every day, there was a substantial jump. Okay, wow. Injuries have affected Lance's development. He had a broken right index finger in the team's preseason finale in 2021 and a fractured ankle in the first quarter of week 2 of last season. Lance is now fully healed and retooled his throwing motion with work with Christensen, which has eliminated Lance's ongoing arm soreness. You mean he's been walking around with his arm sore all the time? Yikes. Christensen said it took him 4 days to diagnose Lance's throwing issues. Oh, man. I can't believe I'm even reading this. It's a different feeling. It can be kind of weird, Christensen said, of Lance's revamped throwing motion. It can be kind of scary. And it's a whole different feeling when the ball leaves your finger. To his credit, he slowly kept applying and kept believing. Brock Purdy is the starter when he returns from rehab after his elbow surgery. But until Purdy gets back, Lance will have time to show that he's different and a better quarterback. Maybe he gets a shot to start somewhere else. But considering the 49ers started 3 quarterbacks last season, maybe the 49ers will need him this season after all. Well, let's just see how much NFL fans buy into that over at PFT, because I think I'm on the same page with these guys. I think I am. Translation: will someone please give us a 5th round pick for this bust? Question mark. I didn't say it, but okay. Christensen said it took him 4 days to diagnose Lance's throwing issues. Right. The guy has been a pro for over 2 years, but Christensen comes along and fixes his issue in 4 days. I'll save this with North American Great Ape and Afghan Space Program in my things that don't exist file. Over the past week, he's gotten better, says the guy whom he paid for tips. Yeah, you got a point. I mean, is Christensen going to go out there and say, you know what, he was a dumpster fire and he's still a dumpster fire even after I worked with him? Of course he's not going to say that. That substantial jump, was it a jump forwards or backwards? Okay, Sylvester 00001 says exactly what I said a minute ago. So did Tebow. There you go. There you go. It's hype season. Let him show us what he's got in real NFL games before we declare the Lance is cured. I guess the problem is solved. I mean, wow. You can't go much further down, so any improvement is a leap. Yeah, I mean, you know, not buying this. He's played one way his whole life. It's not going to happen. Simulating it on a field is one thing. Doing it in real time is another. So it looks like, you know, I got to admit, I'm pretty skeptical of this myself. And I cannot imagine, after working with Kyle Shanahan this whole time, that this guy came along and in a matter of a week, he solved Trey Lance's problems. Did he solve his issues reading defenses? I just wonder about that part, you know? And I still say, and I may be wrong, but I still say there's something underlying there involving him and his teammates. Whatever reason that you've seen Sam Darnold out with his teammates, or formerly you saw Jimmy Garoppolo out with his teammates, but you don't see a lot of Trey Lance teammate action happening, do you? I'm sorry, guys, but chemistry on a football team is a thing. And when 49ers teammates are that happy when Jimmy Garoppolo comes back into the game after they just watched their quarterback go down with a broken ankle, the 49ers teammates, and look, they weren't celebrating Trey Lance's injury, but they were happy as hell to see Jimmy Garoppolo back in the game. I mean, it was like the entire season changed in a back-to-back play. I mean, it was weird. It was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in the 40 years of watching football. That strange teammate celebration the moment that Jimmy came back in. That's weird. That tells you a lot. It tells you a whole lot. Mike Martz, that's right, the mad scientist, names the 49er offense the number one offense in the NFL and also predicts Sam Darnold will start. Before we ever jump into this, let's just take a look. Sam Darnold, 6'3", 225, 25 years old. I mean, Sam Darnold's been in 56 games, 55 starts, and he's only 25. Now, I'm going to tell you, the big fly in the ointment here for me with Sam Darnold is that 59.7 completion percentage. Now, if you mess around and you look up and all of a sudden in Kyle Shanahan's offense, he's throwing 67%, look out. Because we have to remember, Sam Darnold was, for whatever reason, right, wrong, or indifferent, drafted by the Jets. And he did flash a couple of times with the Panthers last year. But now he is with Kyle Shanahan. I think Sam Darnold is interesting on here. I think he is. A lot of experience. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Matt Ryan, except Sam Darnold's got a better arm. Sam Darnold's got a gun on him. A lot of people don't realize that. Sam Darnold has a bit of a cannon. But he's got to be more accurate, and in that offense, we know it's a really easy quarterback offense, which is sort of another indictment of Trey Lance. Writing for the 33rd team, Mike Martz ranked the top 5 offenses in the 49ers, with the 49ers listed as number 1. That is something we can get behind. The 49ers have so many darn weapons, it's hard not to see them in that position should the aforementioned quarterback battle that gives us a best fit for the role. Mike Martz is, in fact, saying Sam Darnold will start. Well, he may start, but it may be because of injury. I believe Darnold will start. He was a highly talented guy coming out of college. He was put in a couple of tough situations with the Jets and the Panthers. Yeah, I mean, look, we got to remember Matt Rule was with the Panthers when all that started. And we saw how that turned out. I mean, he was not an NFL coach. He wasn't. Now he's with a solid offensive staff and a coach who is brilliant with quarterbacks. The 49ers are an extremely talented team, and Darnold being the starter would be a good thing. They are primed to have a great season. Now, he thinks Darnold can come in and actually do something in this offense. I don't know. I mean, I tend to believe that when you've been in the league this long, a certain part of your career, that ship has sailed. But let us recognize something about Sam Darnold. Drafted to the Jets with Adam Gase. That guy. You remember him? Adam Gase. Yeah. Then he signs with the Panthers. Matt Rule. Matt, I did not make it, halfway through last season? That Matt Rule. I think he's Nebraska's coach. By the way, I think Matt Rule's a hell of a college coach. But he wasn't an NFL coach at all. And he wasn't the supposed offensive guru. Sam Darnold's got two problems, and one of the problems he had in college before he came out. Sam Darnold turned the ball over in college. And when you turn it over in college, you tend to turn it over in the pros. That has always translated pretty good. Don't believe me? Jameis Winston turned the ball over a lot. He was a hell of a college quarterback, but he turned the ball over. He threw interceptions in college. If you throw interceptions in college, you tend to throw them in the NFL. But that completion percentage, it's going to be interesting to see if all of a sudden that goes up, say, 5 to 7 points all of a sudden. That in itself might lend itself to a lot more success for Sam Darnold. And I know what you're thinking. My God, Sam Darnold, but not Trey Lance? Look, sorry. Sam Darnold's shown us a hell of a lot more than Trey Lance has. I mean, let's just be real. Sam Darnold, as of right now, technically speaking, is a bust, even though he's going to have like a 12 or 13-year career or 15-year career. Trey Lance has shown us virtually nothing. And Sam Darnold's still only 25. Think about that. It's nuts. I mean, Hendon Hooker is the same age as Sam Darnold. Anyway, long video, but wanted to talk some 49ers. Saw the Trey Lance thing and was like, oh my God, we're cured. Every time I see these Trey Lance is taking a substantial jump. Trey Lance has shown us so much. Oh, he's progressed so much. Oh, he's done this and he's done that, and you haven't had a training camp. You hadn't had all those practices yet. No words coming out of a training camp. No preseason games and no regular season starts. We have no idea if he is improved at all. We're seeing the same thing with Justin Fields, by the way. Oh, my God, he looks great. Wait a minute, what? There's been no games. How do you know he's going to look great? How has he looked great? You got to get out there with the real bullets and the guys running around you and the muddy pockets and all this kind of stuff to see if there has been real, actual improvement. All of that said, I would love for Trey Lance to just go out there, show his ass, and prove a ton of people wrong. Because there's people that even supported Trey Lance that are just out on him now. You know, tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.